Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Becky, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about trusting actions and not words. Okay. One of the reasons why I came up with my 7 steps to getting on the same page blueprint was because in my family, it was very, very difficult for me to help everybody have conversations that were truthful and meaningful and productive and be able to move forward in life, because I found that a lot of times they were wanting to manipulate or lie or connive or whatever, and they thought that I was dumb. And what happens is when you're doing this so long, you just get tired of calling people out on their stuff and you just stop. You're like, I see it, you see it, can you handle that? Okay. And I move on and I go, and then I'm like, okay, Lord, now this one's got greed and this one's got, lust after me. Can you please, you see what I see, can you please handle that? And then I go and I help somebody else. So that's why I say I'm a demon slayer, because just my presence alone tends to bring out anything that's hidden in the subconscious, in the psyche, and in the spirit. So any darkness that's hidden, it comes to light. And I warn people ahead of time, okay? If you are not wanting to truly heal, if you're not really wanting to do the shadow work, and believe me, I'm still doing mine, it's an evolution. It's an ever-going process. I will always be learning and having more things brought to the surface and having to process and do my own shadow work, right? So I'm not telling you something that I haven't actually experienced. This is my way of life since I was a small child. And I want to be able to share that with you. And so then that way I can take the wisdom and the knowledge that my ancestors and my experience and my education has provided with me to be able to give you cheat sheets on how to get out of probably some pretty serious life and death type situations. Or, I can help people get off of addictions, because I myself right now am I just kind of noticed that I just switch addiction. So like right now I'm posting too much on social media all the time, that's an addiction. It's a trauma response. Okay. So it's like you give up one vice and you pick up another, and then I go and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to stop posting, but then I'm going to exercise too much. And then that's an addiction. It's something that we have to constantly deal with. It's not something that you're ever like, I'm cured, I'm good, because life is a healing spiral. And so I just have noticed myself where it'll be like, oh, I went and stayed with my friend who said she would help me not smoke marijuana anymore, but then when I got there, she was giving it to me, and so then it was like, dang it, but I want to be productive in trying to help people, so that way you don't just have to cut people off and disappear and move on and find new people. I want you to be able to be more like discerning before you invest in these friendships, because this friendship was actually over 15 years. I thought we were like soul sisters, and come to find out, no, she thought I was a pet and like to plaything and like to mess with me and like to try to make herself feel more powerful, things like that, where it's just like you realize after the fact that you're like, man, that was 15 years of what I thought was a soul connection with somebody, just to find out, no, they were just playing in my face, mirroring my own energy back to me in order to capture my essence to use to steal blessings. I didn't know that stuff. Now I know better, I can do better. And when I know better, then I can share that wisdom. So if you are one of my tribe, then that means you're willing to evolve and to grow and understand that's a lifelong process that, we'll just continue to do. And if you would like, go ahead and send me a request at homans.consulting@gmail.com, and we can have a free conversation just to see if we are a right fit, if you really truly are looking for the help, and if that help is what I can provide. Because my time is precious and my wisdom is invaluable, so my prices are high. I'm looking to help people that are already doing God's work, so usually it's the entrepreneurs with godly businesses who usually are the ones that have the most success with me. because they really do have a divine mission and usually a divine counterpart, or they're looking for a divine counterpart. And that's my expertise, is more of the spiritual realm. And I'm trying to learn, now that I'm no longer being trapped in systems for survival, I'm trying to learn how to now navigate the virtual world without, all the craziness. Because I already know people are like spreading bad AI and like hidden film footage and all the crap that happens when you start to become more vocal and notice. And I don't want to have to defend myself on any of that, because I really don't care. I know the truth, God knows the truth, and that's all that matters. So what I'm going to do today is talk about trusting the actions and not words, because I was one who always fell in love with potential. I'd be like, man, that guy's got a really great idea. I'm going to go help him out, or I'm going to ask him if he wants help. And of course he'd be like, sure, I want you on my team. Little did I know just how the patriarchal had been working. And so then, it did not work out well. And then I'd end up leaving, and then that project would either collapse or, it would succeed based on what happened when I left. I usually didn't want to leave a position, but God had to kind of rip me away from it, because I was so self-sacrificing for the children, and for God and for humanity. And I've had to learn how to heal that mother wound and be like, oh, honey, we can't save them. Only God can save them. So you can't vouch for anybody, because you don't know who people are behind closed doors. Even me. You don't really know me, and which is why I would always get frustrated when strangers would be like, I love you, I want to marry you. I could be a serial killer. You don't know. Like, you gotta get to know me. Like, this whole love thing has gotten really out of control. Really out of control. You don't know anybody. Look at me. I thought I knew somebody for 15 years, but that was not the case. We happened to work together for a while. She happened to be a teacher for my kids for a while. She happened to go to church with me for a while, but I didn't know her. She didn't know me. She thought I was a powerless nobody. Wrong. So you don't know what anybody is capable of, right? Anything at any given moment in time, if given the opportunity, could turn on you. You have to be, that's why I always think of things more in a military mindset, because I can love somebody, but I also know that that person's hurting enough, and if they feel that it's me or them, they're going to go after me out of self-preservation. That's what humans do. Any animal do that. You can take the nicest little kitten, and then if you keep messing with it and you're going to hurt it, it's going to claw you up and down for defense. And then you don't blame the cat as being vicious. You have to look at, well, what was attacking the cat to make the cat vicious? So I try to teach everybody that wants to work with me, you have to treat every person with respect, whether or not you like them. Believe me, I help people all day long that don't like me. And I don't really like them, but we can play the game. We can be cordial. We can be friendly. We can say, hey, how's the weather going? How's little Johnny doing? Okay, cool. Rocking on. I'm going now. See ya. I don't have to be people's best friends, right? I just deliver messages that God wants me to be delivering in the places that he wants me to deliver them in. And then what happens from there is no longer my responsibility. So I've had a lot of experience on being able to trust actions over words. I made the mistake enough of even people giving me telepathic messages, and I'd be like, all right, we're on the same page. But then it never gets grounded. And then I'm like, I just wasted 2 years on you telling me things are going to happen. And then I'm thinking, oh, okay, just wait a little bit longer. And then I'm like, oh no, he's a warlock stealing my energy. Oh my gosh, how dumb am I? And then I have to remind myself, I'm not dumb. I didn't know. I really thought, oh, telepathically we're communicating, this is going to be the game plan, and then nothing happens in the 3D, and I'm like, oh great. So learn from my mistakes. That's the goal. You don't go from 0 to 100 overnight. Anybody that's coming in love bombing you, automatically huge red flag. Butterflies in the stomach, that's a no-go. That's your soul saying danger, danger, danger. When you're in a relationship or you're with or around people who are like that in the beginning, you don't see it right away, right? Because let's be honest, they've created a society where everybody is starving for love and starving for attention and thirsty for material things. They want people to run after worldly endeavors and put money or a spouse or a child or a parent above God. And when God says move, ooh, I move. Do I like always where it's going and what I'm supposed to be doing? Absolutely not. Have I been in some pretty bad situations where I'm like, Lord, why do you have me here? And he just says, be still. So I still am learning how to maintain that stable core when I have so many people fighting against me. And that's how I know it's the Holy Spirit. Because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God, my ancestors, and the ancient beings and the ascended masters. I just wouldn't be here. The humans around me have consistently tried to kill me since my birth. Actually, before birth, I was told that my grandmother wanted my mother to have an abortion. I don't even know if that's true anymore. So the story I was told was that my grandmother had told my mother to have an abortion. So that's why I can say they've been trying to kill me since before birth. But I don't even know biologically if my parents are my parents anymore based on some of the facts that I've learned about myself. And I'm still learning about myself because, well, if you're in my tribe, you understand. So everyone's got their best behavior, but over time, you'll start to see like sneak peeks, like previews. And it's those previews that you want to pay attention to. I always look to see, how is that person talking to everybody else? How are they talking to their parents? How are they talking to their friends, their coworkers, their colleagues, their employees, the janitors, the unsung heroes, right? The ones that are in the gunk, the plumbers that are coming in the middle of the night to unclog your crappy toilets that's all plugged because your kid threw a toy down it or something, right? Like, those are the people that I'm just like, I love that you enjoy doing things that I would not enjoy, because I can appreciate the differences in us. I don't sit there and go, oh, that makes you a servant. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do that. I will say, to my kids who are on disability with the government, which we can have that conversation another day. But I tell them, I will say, I was like, well, you have a case manager, so you can talk to your staff. Or you have, like, my one daughter doesn't drive, and so with her autism and stuff. And so she'll have staff that will get paid for Medicaid waiver for her autism to like kind of work with her a couple hours, here and there. Not a lot of time, but and so then I'll say, okay, well, when your staff comes, then you guys can go and do blah, blah, blah. So does it sound like I'm a subservient people? Well, maybe in the conversation, but how I treat that person? Absolutely not. I'm discussing a role they play. Believe me, there's times where I'm subservient because of the role that I play. And I have nothing wrong with that. I believe we're all equal in the eyes of God. And so I don't put anybody above anybody else. So my views and how I come across to people who maybe aren't awake or as aware or as consciously evolved as I am, I understand how I appear. I understand the projections, I understand the perceptions, the misunderstandings, and a lot of times the misunderstandings are intentional because people don't usually want the change. Usually the universe has to bring you to your knees, guilty, before you actually do some of the changes, right? Because we get comfortable in our uncomfortableness. I can sit in hot water all day long because I've been dealing with it for 49 years. But God's like, you don't have to sit in hot water, girl. Like, get out of the freaking pan. And I'm like, okay. I just know humanity and how it works is I can get out of the boiling water in this situation working for this company, and guess what? The next company, I got another boiling pot of water. So I'm just kind of jumping from the fire pan or from the pan into the fire, or however that goes. Strike that, reverse it, I don't care. But we need to pay attention. We like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I know I do. I'd be like, I really hope I'm wrong. So I gaslight my own intuition because I've been gaslit from people so long that I sit there and go, man, I really don't want this to really be what I think it is. Like, please let that person not be doing what I think they're doing. And so a lot of times I do turn blind eyes, and now God said, we can't do that. There's no room for error. This is so serious that there is no more turning blind eyes, which is why I posted a lot of personal stuff in these videos that normally I don't share. Normally nobody would know what my life is like behind the scenes. And so God says, you need to be vulnerable, you need to be real, because you can't attract in your audience if you're not honest. And so I am a voice for the voiceless. I've been shut up my entire life. Even when I try to speak up, then the authorities have shut me up. Crooked cops, you know what I mean? Crooked lawyers, crooked judges, crooked politicians, because my family was connected in ways that I was not, and I didn't want to be. They always said I would never make a good criminal because I would just blab. And I'm like, that's right. So don't tell me what you're doing, because I'm the whistleblower here. So just stay away from me, and I can't control what you're doing, but I don't want no part of it. And I will shout it to the rooftops till the good Lord above can totally sever that cord and get me the heck away from everybody in this country. We listen to the excuses that they give us. We do. And they were just so cute, or they're crying, or they're sweet, or they seem so emotional and that they mean it. But there's this ancient Greek saying that says, don't listen to your opponent. Look at them. It'll tell you everything. And that's what you have to do. I watch people now, how they maneuver. And I go, oh, I see. Okay. And then I learned to just silently move differently. Now lately, I haven't been so silent because God's still teaching me patience and shadow work while people try to kill me. And I have to have faith over fear that it won't work. But when you feel like a sitting duck with your hands tied and nobody doing anything, at least in the 3D realm, it can become very infuriating, frustrating. And so I can understand why we have so many of the youth that are turning to violence. And that's why I really hope the 15 to 30-year-old starseeds who are feeling that pressure of just wanting to go ballistic on everybody around them, please reach out to me. Text me if you have to, because I know when I'm in a mood, I don't want to speak. I'm okay with the nonverbal, but I need you to reach out. Email me a paragraph, okay? Get it out of your system. Send it to me where it's a safe space where then I can transmute it, I can alchemize it, and nobody gets hurt. All right. We'll have a free consultation. We'll see if we can work together. And if not, then I can at least lead you towards some local resources that will be able to help you. Okay. All right. So when I say, look at them, look at what people do. I need you to drum out what they are telling you. I need you to drum out their I'm sorries, because they probably are. They probably are. I've heard I'm sorry from the man who tried to kill me for over 10 years. Okay. And the tears, and I'll get help, and the therapies, and the jails, and the mental hospitals. Like, you can't save them. You really can't. So, don't fall for the I'm sorries. Good people make bad choices. So can I still say that I love my ex-husband? Absolutely. But is an agape love. It's in a almost like I feel bad for you love, because you're still trapped in a prison that you're trying to, make comfortable. And I'm not willing to stay in that prison with you, so then I have to be free. And I won't stay in a gilded cage. So that is hard for people who have been taught by religion that men are supposed to protect and provide, and by provide, it's financial. They don't understand the more biblical ways of providing. And that's why my passion is so strong with this, is the devil is after the men and the women, because women don't even know what healthy divine masculinity really looks like. So then they're running to the wrong things, and they're running from the right things. And I'm guilty of that myself, which is why I made a pledge to celibacy in 2018. I said, I'm done. I'm not playing these games. No, we're not doing this. And I am now here devoted to helping people like you. So if you could like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so we can get a wider audience, and that way I can reach more people and hopefully help more people, then I would really appreciate that. Thank you. But the problem is that sometimes the consequences of people's mistakes, they have to last. And I'll admit, I don't like seeing people hurting. I don't like people in pain. So a lot of times I would get to where I would enable. I'd be like, man, I know that they just told that white lie, and I'm not going to call them out on it. And if I don't call it out, then it unravels into something ugly. So I've learned the hard way that I can't turn a blind eye anymore. Which is why I can say anybody who is not in my good graces, which is not true. I love everybody. People fear that I'm upset with them. They don't like that feeling of me being angry with them. And believe me, I don't like that feeling either. But when I'm trying to help them save their soul and try to prevent them from letting the devil take over and destroy them, then my gut is just like, and I have to walk away because their demons have too much control over that vessel. And then the only way for them to truly learn that lesson is for the negative consequences, that karma, to hit them. And if I'm constantly softening the blow with my protection, going, but they're my son, can't you just cut him a break? Like, just hurt him a little bit. Come on, God, like, don't bring him completely to his knees. Like, we don't need to go there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, as a mom, you start to like negotiate and be like pleading on their behalf. And all that does is it stops them from spiritually growing. And I know that now. I realized that I stunted to some degree my children's spiritual growth because I chose the wrong partner. And I don't ever want to make that mistake again. And I want to try to help you, if you've made that mistake, or if you want to prevent that mistake, from happening, because the family unit, it needs to be protected. And that means that we have to be able to detach from the love that we feel and make sure that we're using our intuition and our mind and our gut as well. Because they want us just to stay in the love space, but you have to have the coherence between the mind, the body, the spirit, and have divine wisdom and protection in order to have what you want. Otherwise, you're communing with evil spirits or some sort of alien force or whatever. You're not tapped into God's source, right? And so for me, this has been a learning experience of, okay, what is demonic? What is witchcraft? What is a warlock? What is an energy vampire? What is and I feel like now that I'm unlocking this next level, I'm preparing for the next level of big boss devils, right? I'm going from helping the little bosses to now helping the big bosses who are even more disguised on who's good and who's not. And I hate to say good and not, because, if you know, you know. There is no such thing as good and evil. It's just learning. All right. The point is that when do you want to learn your lesson? In the beginning? Real quick, short, sweet, blunt. Let's do this. That's my method. Rip the Band-Aid, clean the wound, cauterize it, let's keep moving. because I'm doing triage on souls, and I don't have the ability anymore to sit there and do the whole nurturing, holding your hand, and we're gonna walk through this together, hip to hip, and I'm gonna do this with you, and we're gonna, and this, and then we're gonna do that, because I can't invest all of that time and energy into one vessel. I've got to be hitting the masses. I've got to be hitting way more people at a much broader audience in a more efficient way than just one person at a time. And my kids understand that. They know how karma works. And that's why I say they're my prodigal children who, turned away from the strict religious views of mom. And that's okay. They have to go and explore the world without me hovering, going, don't you want me to help you with that? Think about that again. Are you sure that's the choice you want to make? Well, here's another option. Right? They need to, because trust me, I get it. They're like, can I please make my own mistakes, Mom? Can I please make my own? Sure thing. And then they will learn and grow, and it will be for their mission, which is what I've ultimately told them. I said, I can't tell you what your divine blueprint is. That's between you and God. So get into those practices of spirituality and tie in the religion to it, because the religion keeps us grounded into a moral compass. So that's why I say I live a life that is Christ-centered, or a Christ follower, the temple path, the rose path, the Mary Magdalene path, the high priestess path. There's all kinds of different names for it. Some people will associate some of it with darkness and some of it trickery, and some of it, when you do your inner work and you do your healing and you can really purify your soul, because that's really what it is. Every horrible situation that I've ever survived helped me evolve. So I might have been born an ascended master in my soul, but this vessel had to be conditioned through experience to be in alignment with the ascended soul. And it's really hard when you are fully aware and awake and totally understanding of your circumstances when you're a toddler. And at 5 years old, you take on the spiritual assignment of your elders, and you're just going, "Ooh, okay, I'm going through this blind, but God's got me. My ancestors have got me. And here I am. It's taken me 49 years, but I finally am a starseed that is launched and individuated and moving forward. And I've successfully helped my kids individuate, and now they're going through their lessons in life, and they have access to me 24/7. So it's not like I've abandoned them and run off to find a man and do my business and save the world. That's not how it is. I'm leading by example, that you have to continue to follow your dreams. So my dream was to be a matriarch. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to be that. But this society and the family I grew up in kind of would chip away and ruin anything that I was trying to build or do. And I didn't want to stay in the victim mindset, so that I would do the work and I'd be like, all right, they destroyed what I was building here. Try again over there. Then I'd run into more of the Matrix, what they call them, the agents. I'd try to be friends with them, and we work together. And they loved it when you just allow, things to slide, and you're like is in a system, and you're like hierarchy, and you're low man on the totem pole. But when then God's like, honey, that's an illusion. So stop letting them think that. And then when you start, pushing back, oh, well, then you're aggressive and you're masculine and you're all this stuff. And then you get to a point where you're like, listen, I am here to defend, protect, deflect, whatever crap you're trying to do with these children. And if that means that you don't like me, I'm okay with that, because I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to be a voice for the voiceless, to protect and provide for children and the earth and the generations to come. So thank you for listening to all my videos. I know that I sound unhinged, so I really appreciate how patient you guys are all through this process. And these videos will get better and better, especially once I have technology fully up and active and running and my accounts aren't being, you know, messed with on that end. But for now, I will go ahead and say goodbye, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.